Allcarnews, and today we are here with the 2023 Dodge Durango Hellcat that I've been driving around for the past week. And yes, it's been damaging my wallet, but it has been making me super happy this whole time. That crazy supercharger whine, exhaust note, 710 horsepower, and knowing that this thing's gonna be super rare and exclusive after it goes out of production this year, both the engine and this kind of Hellcat lineup in general. So I'm going to give you guys a full tour and impression, as I always do with these new cars, though even though this one's going to be a little bit more special as they're not really that easy to get. Nonetheless, for almost around $100,000, can you really get anything else like this? I really can't start this video without talking about the main highlight of this car, and that is the Hellcat V8. This monster of an engine has been in a load of vehicles from Dodge in the past decade at this point, and making its way into the Durango has been one of the coolest thing I think the company has done so far. First we saw it in the Trackhawk, and then it made its way into the Durango, and honestly I think it's a better place than the Durango as they've kind of refined the whole experience of the engine and how it is paired to the rest of the powertrain. Now what exactly we're looking at here, of course, this is the famous 6.2 liter HEMI V8 with that massive supercharger right slapped on top, and in this particular application it's making 710 horsepower through a ZF 8-speed gearbox and sending power to all four wheels with a heavy rear-wheel drive bias, of course. Though I think this all-wheel drive combination and how they've kind of retuned this engine specifically for the Durango really has been one of my favorite applications of this engine that we've seen stock from the company, which is really incredible. You can see that massive pulley right there with the Mopar logos on front. Absolutely epic to see that. Love it. You can see the the orange on the I don't know, this engine's just so been iconic to me. I think a lot of people in the industry, it's really cool to see it up front and how it is placed in the Durango. But just from looking at it, you can't really get the full grasp of the insanity of this thing. So I'm gonna turn it on for you guys so you can see this beast start up. Okay guys, here we are with the 2023 Durango Hellcat, and of course I have the red key which unlocks the full power. If you don't know what the Hellcat's, if you have the regular black key, it does not unlock the power, and this red key does, which is pretty cool. Thank you, Dodge, for giving me that. But yeah guys, this is the last year of the Hellcat's production, of course the engine, but this model as well. I think it's pretty iconic. Crazy amounts of power. Of course, there's that little bit of controversy with them bringing it back for 2023 after making it limited for the first production run. Nonetheless, I'm kind of happy about that. I think it's cool to have more of these on the road. Sure, some owners may be upset, but hey, more Hellcats is a cool thing. And I think this thing still looks absolutely epic. There's a lot of V8 big SUVs on the road, and yeah, the Durango's been around for like 15 years at this point, and it hasn't changed so much. I think it still looks really good, and this latest update on the front fascia, I think it's done wonders for making this thing still look very aggressive. So up front, what are we having? Of course, with the Hellcat models, we are getting a lot more aggression on the front fascia, especially in terms of aerodynamics and more cooling, because this big 6.2 liter V8 needs a lot of cooling, I can tell you that. I love the newer generation of LED lights that are kind of like reminiscent of the Ram 1500 on the current Durango lineup. I think they look really cool on this Hellcat model as well. And of course, you cannot forget the iconic Hellcat badge up there with the SRT script in there as well. Up on the top of the hood, we have these three big vents here, and guess what? Yes, they are functional. So these vents right here are for heat extraction, and it is, wow, that is really hot actually. You can feel under there. There's also the heat coming out on this side as well. So yes, there is actually venting here to let all that heat into the engine bay out. Up front over here, this is all completely open as it is down here for maximum cooling. We do have a little bit of a cover for your adaptive kind of cruise control radar there. These side vents are also open on both sides, so we're not getting that fake vintage going on these Durango Hellcat model. And up front, you can also see the stance and width of these front tires. These are rocking a little bit more aggressive Pirelli P0 rubber on here, wrapped around 20-inch wheels, P0s, 295 45s on all four wheels. We do have all-wheel drive on this one. You can see how dirty these front Brembo calipers are. They are also absolutely massive. This thing's definitely gonna need some new brakes after we've been driving it for this past week. Again, check out the kind of brighter shade of red on the rear calipers you get back there. Believe it or not, these 20-inch wheels look small on this thing. Just how the size of the Durango and just chunkiness of those tires as well. Cannot miss the absolutely massive Hellcat badge on the side of the fender of the Durango. It's absolutely awesome. And just check out the pearl and this Octane Red paint. The kind of metallic flakes in there looks really absolutely epic. And back here, two gigantic exhaust tips, of course, to kind of let that V8 scream its heart out. And we also have a few badges back here. We have the 4 badge with the kind of the Dodge logo behind it to indicate this is all-wheel drive. We also have that nice big SRT badge back here once again. And you can notice the exhaust is actually melting the bumper right here, which I noticed just the other day, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, this thing gets really hot and they're not touching. They're just melting. It's melting it. And of course, the fun thing with the Durangos, you can tow things with this thing. Right behind here is a tow hitch, and it gets in a pretty impressive amount of towing capability. It's around like 8,500 pounds. I'm going to put the right number right there for you guys. But that's pretty impressive. So you can not only fit 6 people in here, a huge trailer, maybe take another car with you even, and you get 710 horsepower. It's just absolutely epic of a machine this thing is. And back here, guys, this is another best part of the Durango, is that you have a lot of cargo space back here. I'm going to open the trunk for you guys. You can do that from the key fob, or you can do it from the button itself inside. Nice power tailgate back here, and just check out the amount of cargo space. And this is behind the 3rd row as well. You have a decent amount of cargo space to kind of play around with things over here. And then if you open this little hatch here, you have more cargo space. It's kind of like this little rubberized area. There's no spare on this, so this is a nice amount of space you get for back here. You can check out the red seat belts, even for the 3rd row. That's absolutely epic. And if you want to fold the seats down, you can just pull this tab right here, and they fold flat. No power adjustment for the 3rd row, so it's not super hard to do it. And check this out now, is you have all this space, which is just nuts. Nice felting on the carpets, and it doesn't feel cheap. Yeah, it's an older vehicle platform wise, but it doesn't feel super cheap. You have your power tailgate closed there, and of course you can fold that 2nd row down for even more space, so that's pretty impressive. You got air vents up there as well for all passengers. This car it's pretty versatile. Press this button and shut it up as well. Does take a little bit of time. But yeah, guys, that's the quick little exterior tour of the Durango Hellcat. It's almost a little understated, if I want to even put it that way, because most of the Durangos can actually get this kind of front fascia and just general exterior look, even on the regular SRT or even like an RT or even the GT models of the V6 kind of get this hood and the front look. So you really got to look for those Hellcat badges if you want to know, or just listen to this thing driving down the road, because it sounds insane to know that this is the insane Hellcat. Okay, guys, let's go take a tour of the rear seats first. Open these big old chunky door panels so you can see what's going on back here. We actually have very nice usage of materials. This is leather. This is also leather. You have this carbon fiber trim on this one with this forged carbon look. Feels pretty solid, pretty nice in here. And then you can check out these absolutely epic seats in this red Napa leather over here, which just looks so cool. You have the SRT logo embossed on top as well. And like I said, this is the captain chairs configuration, which you can get on the Durango. You can actually get, I believe, a 3rd row delete. I think you could do that. I saw that somewhere, but let's hop inside and check this out. You even have a nice big mat right here to step into. Nice solid thunk from the doors, and I have a lot of room back here, which is impressive. I can kind of stretch out. I have a lot of foot space down there, a lot of knee room, which is fantastic. And you also have this whole little fixed center console thing for 2 cup holders, some storage here. This multi-level center console as well. A bunch of different storage. It feels actually quite nice, very thickly padded in this stitched leather. You also have 2 air vents back here, 2 USB ports, as well as heated rear seats as well. And I believe there is an option for an entertainment package you can get in the rear of the seats, though I don't know why you would need that, because this is a performance vehicle and you want to hear that V8 all the time, even for the passengers. Up here you kind of have like this airplane style placement of these climate vents. They look a little old, though. It is cool that you have them up here to control all your air vents. You also have some lighting up here, as well as your air vents themselves up mounted onto the ceiling, which is pretty interesting, though that does mean you cannot get a full panoramic roof. So you do have this tiny little moonroof, sunroof up front for the driver and front passenger. But nonetheless, pretty nice back here, pretty spacious, and these seats are so comfortable. They almost feel like a supportive couch, if that's the best way to put it. I really do love these seats. They're quite nice. I believe there's an Alcantara style headliner you can get, though this one is only going to have this just kind of like squishy cloth headliner. I believe that's another extra option. Now I want to show you guys how to get into the 3rd row, because at the end of the day, this is a versatile, usable vehicle. So I believe to do this, I press this lever right here. That first seat folds down, and there seems like a gigantic red latch to move the seat up, and yeah, that's how you get back there. Put the headrest up, and you have a huge amount of space to actually hop into that 3rd row. So I can just literally step in here and come right back into the seat. And wow, okay, you're definitely sitting high up back here. Let's push the seat backwards, lock it into place, and then I can just pull the seat up. It's not the easiest solution, but holy cow, I could actually fit back here. This is impressive, I'm not gonna lie. I have a pretty decent amount of knee space. Foot space is a little limited. Where to put it? Okay. No chargers back here. You do have a cup holder. It's a little bit of a grab handle to get in and out of from. Big, gigantic window, actually, so you don't feel claustrophobic. You have some speakers back here as well as your air vents and a little bit of a light. So that's pretty cool. And honestly, yeah, this is actually not bad. And you also have a little bit of a storage solution back here if I push this forward, so I can access this kind of lower storage space as well as the second row. That's pretty cool. Nice job, Dodge. You can actually put people back here, so impressed. Put that seat forward to get up, and it's a little bit complicated to get out of here. It's a lot of manual adjustments, but nonetheless, it is capable of being done. Okay, guys, and that was the rear end of the Durango Hellcat. Okay, guys, let's go take a tour of the front end now, and pretty much the same stuff that we saw in the rear, though. Of course, you get a little more amenities up here. Again, nice materials on the doors, actually. Again, that nice chopped carbon fiber style trim. All your controls over here, much older style buttons, of course. Harman Kardon sound system in this one, not super good, but we'll get into that later. I do love this aluminum side sill plate that says Supercharged on it. Really nice touch. You also have SRT floor mats down here, aluminum pedals, and these, again, really super comfortable seats up here. They are ventilated and heated. Again, you have that nice SRT badge embossed into the seat backs as well. And let's just go hop inside. Nice solid thunk on the doors as well, and check out this space in here. This is the updated interior for the Durango, and of course that's going to give you that massive touchscreen, new dash style and materials. And oh my gosh, check out that old Corvette over there. Cool, guys, awesome. Nonetheless, this is a cool space. Let's start this beast up. I'm gonna pop down the windows for you guys just for a second so you can hear this thing come into life, but it's insane. Nice red stop start button as well. What a sound and a half. And I love the steering wheel, but let's take a tour of this interior first. What a monster. So what do we have here? Like I said, we have the Uconnect 5 infotainment system right here. It's actually quite responsive and easy to use. I never really have any issues with that, so that's fantastic. You also have Apple Wireless CarPlay and this awesome SRT pages, which you can access with this button right here. That will unlock your different drive modes right here. So you have track, sport, auto, snow, tow, and custom, so you can customize all of these different parameters, which is absolutely insane. Then we have your performance pages, so you can go through your different timers. So yeah, you can actually see timers of like launches. My best 0 to 60 I've done this week is 3.7. So it's kind of cool. All your different gauges for all the different stuff going on under the hood. Up front over here, I absolutely love the SRT Hellcat style steering wheel. It's just one of my favorite steering wheels on the market right now. Really chunky. It feels really good actually in the hands. You have this hand stitching, white stitching, contrasting going around. It is heated as well. Nice leather wrapped around it, and you do have these metal paddle shifters on the sides. They don't go completely back because you have those typical I guess FCA or Stellantis little buttons behind the steering wheel to control your audio and volume and track stuff, but nonetheless they do work pretty well, and they are real metal. You can kind of hear that. Older style buttons on the steering wheel. You have a very basic kind of adaptive cruise control system, nothing too crazy there. And this is an old gauge setup. This is only digital in the centerpiece. You kind of cycle through some of these menus here. It takes a little bit of time because it's just a little bit slow. But yeah, you can definitely get some information up here, but it's nothing too crazy. Once you start thinking about how expensive this car is, I kind of wish they put some newer tech in there. You can see my wonderful 9.3 miles to the gallon I've been doing over this past week, which is just absolutely awful. But you get it with this car because it's just insane. Down in the center console here, there's a lot of stuff going on actually. I really do like the newer style that we've seen with this new update. So here we have all of your climate controls and HVAC vents and stuff. So you have your heated seat controls right here. You have your ventilated seat controls, a big center button for your heated steering wheel, all your separate climate control stuff. And I love this little center panel down here for your individual launch control button, turns off traction control, which is fun, and that little SRT button right there. Big wireless charge mat over here, as well as 4 power outlets, which is really cool, as well as an aux switch right there, some storage, and this whole center console feels very solid and actually like quite nice. So it's an interesting mix of interior because there are some old bits, and you know there's some old bits in here, but I think this refresh with the dash feels really high quality actually, especially this leather stitched dashboard right here with this white stitching. It goes all the way across. Again, that nice carbon trim. They did a good job in this interior update, and it's pretty nice. I also love the red seat belts. It's just a really cool touch. Nice big old style shifter, also wrapped in leather for your 8-speed automatic gearbox. Cup holders right here, more of that carbon trim on the side, and you have a dual layer center console. It's very thickly padded leather center armrest, which I really like. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it in here. Older. I wish this mirror could be a little bit bigger if there's any big real complaint in here. And yeah, it's not like some of the materials in here are a little harder plastics and stuff. So I guess that would be nice or to improve for something that costs $100,000. But this thing's special in its own right for its own reasons. I understand why they're so popular, and people do love them regardless. So yeah, guys, this is the quick tour of the interior of this beast. And I think what everyone wants to know now is how is it to drive? So what's the way to start a drive than putting it into launch control, because I think that's what this thing is all about. Let's do it, guys. Lost traction there. What was that one? 3.9. Okay, not bad. Anyways, quick introduction to this video, guys. This thing's a freaking riot. It is an absolute blast to drive around, to hoon around. And you have all this customizability with this different settings in here, from your transmission settings, paddle shifters, stability control, suspension, as adaptive dampers, steering, and we'll get into how it kind of drives a little bit. But it really actually is quite fantastic to drive around. Love this display with all your gauges to see all the temperatures of everything, battery voltage. And you can even display some of this information up in this center unit right here. Let's kick it off. And the acceleration is always oh my god. This thing's a riot. But yeah, I mean, I've been driving this thing for the past week, and it's genuinely been one of the most fun experiences that you can just continually have all the time, because it's just constantly insane no matter what mode you're in. That was custom mode, you have auto mode. It's just so much fun. Now, the one downside that I will say from driving this over the past week is the fuel economy is crap. It's absolutely terrible, but you know, you're going to expect that with a 6.2 liter supercharged V8 under the hood. I'm just trying to find the fuel economy gauge right here. 8.9 miles to the gallon. Yeah, that's been over the past week. I have been driving it a little bit aggressively, but even if you are trying to like baby it, it's still not going to be doing the best fuel economy on the planet. Now, talking about the chassis and dynamics of this thing is another question, because believe it or not, it's actually really good. Now, this is a huge vehicle. It's 200 inches long. And on top of it being 200 inches long, it also weighs a lot. It's like over 5,500 pounds. So you have to like, oh wow, big SUV, lots of power, it's a little heavy. Is it gonna handle well? And surprisingly, it does. I've heard the Jeep Trackhawk doesn't handle really that well. It's a little bit floaty, but Dodge has, and that's the SRT team, have actually redone the whole suspension system. They have these adaptive dampers. They've kind of added some different rebound damping and stuff to improve the stability and body control and feel of this thing, and it is actually really good. Even the steering, actually, there's not like a crazy amount of feel, but these gigantic tires, they actually, you can kind of feel the road a little bit, and the body feels taut actually and pretty well controlled. Even going through around like corners at higher speeds, you feel a little bit of lean, but if you feel confident, and you can do that. You can do that as well. Brakes are impressive, which have to be for this amount of power. A Tesla can take notes there, which I mean they kind of have now, but originally they didn't. Oh, this thing's fun. You can definitely have fun with this insane engine. And there's some really cool stuff actually you can find within this infotainment system. You kind of control like your shift lights if you want, and different RPM gauges that each gear can will maximize. It's just a lot of cool stuff in here. I'm happy they included that in this SRT pages area. We're operating in sport mode right now, and like I said, each mode is customizable, but track mode is the kind of crazy one. Turns off traction control, and actually the shifts are very aggressive, and you can definitely notice the change in the dampers as well. It stiffens up significantly versus the street mode. It feels very taut. Exhaust is loud. And you can definitely notice that everything's on edge, like really in the track mode. Those snarls on the upshift out there are just insane. And again, now we have the tighter dampen setting. You can feel how controlled the body is. And wow, it really is honestly impressive. It's definitely not a vehicle for like any kind of track or any kind of that setting, even to this level, but to be able to handle this weight and do it in such a comfortable way, like it still is able to soak out bumps and keep this body controlled really well without feeling it over stiff like a lot of the German SUVs end up feeling like. What a machine. And you know, you still have radar cruise control too, so you can just turn it on right here, adaptive cruise control ready, set your speed, and you know, you're off cruising like you normally do. It doesn't have any kind of like advanced systems like steering assist or anything, so it's pretty basic in that aspect. You do have like a lane departure like warning system, which I have off because it's kind of annoying. Oh, that sound is intoxicating. And you know, when I was driving this for the first time early last week, in my head was like, oh, this thing's gonna be all engine and everything else is gonna kind of fall apart. But over my week in driving this, that's what's actually been changed in my mind. It's not all engine. Like I said, it steers pretty well, actually. It handles itself pretty well. I actually quite like this interior. It's not the fanciest thing, in short, around almost $100,000. I might expect more luxury and stuff, but just as a general cohesive package, it's just so much fun and so engaging that I've actually been really happy with it over the week. And if anything, I've kind of learned to see that this thing is more than just an engine. It's actually a really cool all-around vehicle. Vintage Roadster right there. Really nice. Aston Martin's doing some good stuff there. But yeah, this thing's a monster, guys. Let's go on the highway right now. Okay guys, let me know what 3-row SUV with a big V8 is this loud and exciting. There's a lot of big 3-row V8 SUVs in the market, shockingly, which a lot of people didn't really realize, but once you look, there are a lot, but there is nothing like the Durango Hellcat. That engine is just insane, and obviously, yeah, you can get it in the Ram TRX, you can get it in the Trackhawk from Jeep, you can get it in the Charger and Challenger, all really until the end of this year. But nothing else really comes close to just this general experience. And a lot of people, I've seen some kind of motoring journalists complain when they're in this car that, oh, it's a little loud, you hear the V8 all the time, you hear that supercharger, and you know, it's not really pleasing, but that's the whole point of the car. So I don't even consider those downsides. I want to hear that supercharger, I want to hear the exhaust, and I want to hear that V8 rumble, and you will always get that in that car no matter what mode you're in, which is really cool. And of course, it only gets louder and more insane as you go in the more aggressive settings. We're cruising right now on the highway, 75. You're only using like 75 horsepower to it. It's cool, you have that little gauge. 8th gear. What more can you want? And then you could just do this. It's insane. It's really nuts. It is really nuts. Anyways, guys, thank you once again for joining me on this video and on Allcarnews channel. Stay tuned for, as always, for more stuff coming soon.